All right, so you've given us quite the stack of material here on this whole master key system thing. Original excerpts, modern takes, the whole works.
Yeah, it looks like you're trying to get to the bottom of all this mind power stuff.
And figure out if it actually applies, in your life or not.
Right. Exactly.
Let's dive right in.
Sounds good.
We're dealing with Charles F. Haanel's 1916 personal development method here.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff.
And the thing that's kind of captivating about it is Haanel's claim that he's revealing this whole scientific approach to thought control.
That's what he says.
Health, harmony, even prosperity.
It's pretty bold.
All through mastering your mind.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I find fascinating is how he differentiates people.
Oh, yeah.
Not by, like physical attributes or anything,
Okay.
but by their mental power.
Okay.
He argues that mental capacity is like the real determinant of success.
So, like, not our physical abilities or even luck or...
No, he's saying it's all in the mind.
It's the only thing that matters. Really.
Yeah. Well, he uses a powerful analogy to get this point across.
Okay.
He compares this whole mental attraction thing to atomic affinity.
Atomic affinity?
Yeah, the concept that attracts
Okay.
what we consistently focus on mentally is what we draw into our lives.
Oh, so if I'm constantly dwelling on negative things,
Exactly.
I'm actually attracting more negativity.
Yeah, he even compares thoughts to seeds.
Oh, wow.
Like each thought we plant, it's eventually going to sprout and bear fruit,
So we got to be careful what we're sowing up there.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes you think twice about what's taking root up there. But
Right.
how much control do we actually have over our thoughts? I mean,
The good question.
they can feel so random and scattered sometimes.
For sure. And that's where this whole dual nature of the mind comes in.
Oh, okay.
The conscious and subconscious mind. He explains that these two parts of our minds are kind of constantly working in parallel.
So there's more to our minds than we're even aware of.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the conscious mind the part that we're aware of? The thoughts we choose to think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the subconscious is more like the behind-the-scenes operator.
I see.
It's running all the time, even when we're not aware of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like the source of our intuition,
Oh.
our aspirations.
Okay.
Even those, those moments of artistic inspiration that seem to come out of nowhere? You ever have that?
Yeah.
Totally from the subconscious?
But if it's working all the time, even when we're not paying attention, how do we actually tap into its power?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
How does the master key system help us do that?
Well, the goal of the system is to consciously direct that power, the power of the subconscious mind, to achieve specific outcomes.
Oh, right.
He emphasizes the importance of becoming like the captain of our mental ship,
Okay.
steering our thoughts instead of letting them control us.
Right.
He says we need to start with concentration,
Thoughts a little
learning
more.
to focus our minds on a single problem or goal.
Tuning out everything else.
That's easier said than done, though, right? I mean,
I know.
especially these days with all the distractions. So many distractions. Our minds have a tendency to wander.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Well, Haanel was ahead of his time,
Really?
recognizing this, and he actually provides specific techniques to develop concentration,
Oh, wow.
including some practical exercises.
Like what?
Well, one example he gives is trying to concentrate on a single object,
Okay.
like just one object, for 10 minutes straight,
10 minutes.
without letting your mind wander.
Oh, my gosh.
Think of it like a mental workout.
Yeah, that sounds challenging.
It is, but it's worth it.
What other techniques does he suggest?
Well, visualization is another key technique.
Visualization.
It involves creating clear mental images of what we want manifest in our lives. He suggests that these images act like blueprints
Oh, wow.
for our subconscious mind to work with,
Okay.
bringing those desires into reality. So if I have a specific goal I want to achieve, I should visualize myself already having achieved it.
That's the core principle behind a lot of modern manifestation techniques,
Huh, interesting.
which is pretty cool considering how old the master key system is.
Yeah, he was definitely onto something.
For sure.
It's fascinating how some of these ideas have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if we're rediscovering ancient wisdom.
Or maybe we're just beginning to understand the true potential of the human mind.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, nobody.
But enough of the existential questions for now.
Right.
Haanel doesn't stop there. He takes it a step further with this concept of the I.
Right. This is where he ventures into more like spiritual territory.
Right.
He introduces the I as like a spiritual entity,
Okay.
distinct from both our physical body and our mind.
Okay, now we're getting into some deep philosophical waters here.
Yeah, a little bit.
If the I isn't who we see in the mirror or the thoughts we think, what is it exactly?
He describes it as a spiritual entity that actually controls both the body and the mind.
Okay, so like the CEO of our whole being.
Exactly.
And here's where it gets interesting.
Oh, yeah.
He suggests that this individual I is actually part of a larger universal mind.
The universal mind.
Hold on a minute. A universal mind.
That's what he's saying.
What exactly is he talking about?
He describes this universal mind as the infinite source of all creation.
Okay.
Omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent.
So like the ultimate power source.
Exactly.
Okay, my brain is starting to feel a little overloaded here.
I know, it's a lot to take in.
So we have this I that controls our mind and body.
Right.
And that I is somehow connected to this all-powerful universal mind.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And he suggests we can tap into this universal mind through our thoughts.
All right, now we're venturing into territory that could potentially blow my mind.
It's pretty wild stuff.
So how does this connection to the universal mind actually play out in our everyday lives? I mean, how tangible is this connection?
Well, he emphasizes this power we have to change our external conditions.
Okay.
By changing ourselves internally, our thoughts, he argues, quite literally shape our reality.
It's like that Gandhi quote, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly.
But like focused inward.
Exactly.
So instead of trying to change the world around us, we should focus on changing our inner worlds first.
He uses a powerful analogy to illustrate this concept.
So, okay, I'm intrigued.
Imagine a massive battleship.
Okay.
This incredible feat of engineering.
Okay.
He suggests we mentally trace the creation of that battleship back to its origin, back to the architect's mind where the idea first took shape.
So he's saying a thought can literally create a physical reality.
He argues that thought is the ultimate creative force, bringing everything into manifestation.
Wow.
He also connects this idea to the law of attraction, suggesting that our predominant mental attitude attracts corresponding experiences into our lives.
So if I want to experience more abundance, I need to cultivate an attitude of abundance in my mind first.
That's a core principle.
Okay.
He even describes thoughts as having a vibrational frequency.
A vibrational frequency?
That attracts the materials needed to build our reality.
So it's like we're constantly emitting signals that attract experiences matching that frequency. So our thoughts are like magnets drawing in experiences and resources aligned with our internal state.
That's a great way to put it.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
It is.
But how does this apply to something as tangible as money? Does the master key system address wealth and finances?
Absolutely. He emphasizes the importance of developing what he calls a money consciousness.
Money consciousness.
It's not about greed or material obsession or anything. It's more like an attitude of mind. Understanding that there's an abundance of resources available and that we can access that abundance through our thoughts and actions.
It sounds like a shift from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Precisely. And he believes this shift is crucial for attracting prosperity into our lives.
I can see that.
He contrasts this money consciousness with fear.
Fear?
The fear of lack.
Not having enough.
Exactly.
Which ironically probably just perpetuates the cycle of lack.
Exactly.
Right.
Haanel believes fear leads to what he calls a poverty consciousness.
Poverty consciousness.
This belief that there isn't enough to go around.
Yeah.
On the other hand, he suggests that faith in abundance attracts prosperity. And here's an important point.
Okay.
He emphasizes that true success isn't just about taking or acquiring, but about giving and being of service.
So it's not just about attracting wealth for ourselves.
No.
It's about using that wealth to make a positive impact in the world.
That's a key principle in the Master Key system.
Yeah.
The more we give, the more we receive.
Okay, that was quite the deep dive into just the first part of Haanel's work.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did. From the mind as the creative force, to the duality of the conscious and subconscious mind, the idea of the I as a spiritual entity connected to the universal mind.
Right.
We even touched on the concept of money consciousness.
It's a lot.
My mind is definitely full.
I bet.
I'm ready for more.
All right, let's do it.
Bring on part 2.
Sounds good. Picking up where we left off. It's important to understand Haanel doesn't just theorize about these principles.
Okay.
He actually provides a system for putting them into practice.
So it's more than just a bunch of abstract ideas.
Yeah.
He gives us tools to work with.
Absolutely. It's like a mental fitness program designed to train our minds to work for us, not against us.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So what kind of mental exercises are we talking about?
Well, one of the key elements is understanding and maximizing what he calls our mental product.
Mental product. Okay, you got my attention.
Right.
What exactly is that?
Think of it as like the output of our minds. Our ideas, our knowledge, our skills, even our attitudes.
So like the value we bring to the world through our mental capacity.
Precisely. And Haanel suggests we need to honestly assess the worth of our mental product.
Okay.
Like, are we marketing it effectively? Are we getting full value for what we offer?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, myself included, sometimes undervalue their skills and knowledge.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common.
Yeah.
He makes an interesting observation. He points out that, a lot of individuals with even less ability are earning significantly more simply because they've learned how to market their mental product more effectively.
It's a reminder that our internal worth and our external compensation aren't always aligned.
Right. They're not always on the same page.
Yeah.
So to help us assess this, he introduces a percentage system in the book.
Okay.
Encouraging readers to evaluate different aspects of their lives.
Oh, so it's like a self-assessment tool.
Exactly.
Okay.
He has categories like health time efficiency, creative power concentration, and of course, mental product. Readers assign a percentage to each category based on how effectively they believe they're utilizing their potential in that area.
Sounds pretty comprehensive.
It gets very specific.
Right.
Like, for example, under health, he even factors in things like sleep quality.
Oh, wow.
He argues that if you're tossing and turning all night, that's going to impact your overall health and well-being, which in turn affects your mental capacity and ultimately your success.
It all comes back to that interconnectedness we talked about earlier.
Everything's connected.
Right.
He encourages readers to be brutally honest with themselves during this evaluation.
Okay.
The goal is to pinpoint the areas where we're not operating at our full potential.
Okay, so let's say I've done this evaluation and I've identified some areas I need to work on. What's the next step? How do I actually start making improvements?
Right. Well, that's where Haanel's roadmap comes in for cultivating and harnessing the power of our minds. He offers some pretty specific advice on how to apply these principles to our daily lives.
Give me some examples. What kind of practical tips does he offer?
Well, one interesting point he makes is that we shouldn't try to influence others to do what we think they should do.
That's a surprising perspective. So much of the self-help world seems to be about influencing and persuading others.
Yeah, a lot of it is.
Yeah.
But Haanel takes a different approach.
Okay.
He argues that trying to force our will on others goes against the natural law of attraction.
So instead of trying to manipulate or control, we should focus on aligning ourselves with the things we want to attract.
Exactly.
Okay.
He also emphasizes the importance of recognizing the abundance that's already present in the universe.
Shifting from that scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Right. He points out that nature itself is inherently abundant.
Okay.
Just look at the sheer number of trees, flowers, plants, animals.
Yeah.
He suggests that there's more than enough for everyone. It's just a matter of tapping into that abundance.
This reminds me of that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly.
If we focus on creating a world of abundance, everyone benefits.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
And he goes on to say that abundance isn't just about material wealth.
Oh.
It's about cultivating qualities like courage, loyalty, tact, sagacity, individuality, and constructiveness.
Yeah. Those are some pretty admirable traits to cultivate.
For sure.
But how do we go about doing that?
Well, that's where the mind power element comes in.
Okay.
He believes these qualities are all at their core modes of thought. And since he argues that all thought is creative, these qualities will eventually manifest in our external conditions if we nurture them internally.
So if I want to experience more courage in my life, I need to cultivate courageous thoughts.
That's what he's saying.
Interesting.
He talks about developing a consciousness of power within ourselves.
Consciousness of power.
This deep-seated belief in our ability to create the life we desire. This inner knowing is what he believes attracts the opportunities and resources we need.
So it's about becoming a magnet for the things we want rather than chasing after them.
Exactly. He links this back to aligning ourselves with natural law.
Okay.
Haanel suggests that those who understand and work with the power of the universal mind can actually control their conditions, their circumstances, their environment.
So it's about becoming co-creators with the universe in a sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
He also highlights the importance of aligning ourselves with truth.
Okay.
Not just like factual truth, but a deeper understanding of the principles that govern reality.
Truth as a guiding force.
He uses a powerful metaphor.
I love metaphors.
Comparing truth to the foundation of a building.
Yeah.
You know, if the foundation is shaky, the entire structure is at risk.
Yes, that makes sense.
He suggests that any action not in harmony with truth will eventually lead to discord and loss.
So it's about being honest with ourselves, about what's truly important, what aligns with our highest good.
Exactly. He goes on to say that those who haven't yet grasped this power of the universal mind can't utilize it simply because they're unaware of it.
Right.
But he emphasizes that this understanding is available to anyone willing to put in the work to study and apply these principles.
So it's not about having special abilities or privilege.
No.
It's about access to knowledge and the willingness to put it into practice.
He uses the example of electricity.
Oh, okay.
People who understand how it works can harness its power to create incredible things, from lighting our homes to powering complex machines.
Right.
But those who don't understand those laws are more likely to get shocked, literally.
Yeah, you can get zapped.
Exactly.
So understanding the laws of the mental and spiritual realm is just as crucial for success as understanding the laws of the physical realm.
Precisely. And this brings us back to the subconscious mind.
Okay.
He reminds us that it's always working whether we're aware of it or not.
Right.
The key is to become conscious directors of this subconscious activity.
So we go from being passive recipients of whatever our subconscious throws our way to active participants in shaping our reality.
Exactly.
That's a big shift.
It is, and Haanel believes the subconscious mind is incredibly powerful, capable of solving any problem if we know how to direct it.
It's like having a supercomputer at our disposal.
Yeah.
But we need to learn the programming language to utilize its full potential.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
He compares the conscious mind to the captain of a ship.
Okay.
And the subconscious mind to the engine room.
Okay, I like that.
The captain sets the course, but it's the engine room that provides the power to get there.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we become more effective captains of our mental ships? How do we give the right commands to our subconscious mind?
Well, Haanel provides several techniques for doing this, and one of the most well-known is the use of affirmations.
Affirmations, those positive statements people repeat to themselves to try and reprogram their thinking.
Exactly.
Okay.
He believes that by repeatedly affirming the things we want to experience, we can impress those desires upon our subconscious minds.
Okay.
The subconscious then begins working to bring those desires into manifestation.
It's like planting seeds in our subconscious garden and then watering them with positive affirmations.
That's a great image.
Thanks.
He also suggests that we shouldn't just affirm things for ourselves, but also for others.
So like spreading good vibes, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay.
He believes when we affirm good things for others, it creates a ripple effect that ultimately benefits us as well.
What goes around comes around.
Right. But here's a crucial point.
Okay.
He cautions against focusing on the lack of things.
Okay.
For example, if you're constantly thinking, I don't have enough money, you're actually reinforcing that lack in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's more likely to persist.
So instead of dwelling on what we don't have, we should focus on what we do want to attract.
Yes. Instead of saying, I don't want to be sick.
Right.
You would affirm, I am healthy and vibrant. It's about shifting to a positive framework, even when addressing things we don't want.
That makes sense. It's like choosing to focus on the solution rather than the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He also offers a really interesting perspective on failure.
Okay.
He suggests that failure isn't really failure, it's just feedback.
Okay.
It's an indication that we need to adjust our approach or try a different method.
So it's not about giving up. It's about learning from our experiences and course correcting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He also reminds us that even small successes deserve to be celebrated.
Okay.
Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory.
It's about acknowledging our progress and building momentum towards our goals.
Right, and this is where intuition comes in.
Okay.
He believes it's a valuable tool we can learn to use more effectively.
Intuition, that gut feeling we get sometimes.
Exactly.
Okay.
He recommends practicing concentration to strengthen it.
Okay.
Learning to quiet the mind and focus our attention on a single point.
Okay.
It's in those moments of stillness that we can often hear the whispers of our intuition.
Creating space for that inner wisdom to emerge.
Exactly. He's also very clear that achieving success doesn't require going without or denying ourselves things.
So it's not about deprivation or self-denial.
Not at all. He believes true success encompasses all areas of life.
Mm-hmm.
Health, wealth, relationships, spiritual fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's about creating abundance in all its forms.
A holistic approach to success. I like that.
Yeah. And he reminds us that to be truly helpful to others, we need to be strong and resourceful ourselves.
It's like the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. That brings us full circle back to the idea of service.
Right.
Our ultimate purpose is to use our gifts and abilities to make a positive impact in the world.
And as we've discussed, the more we give, the more we receive.
Exactly. It's a beautiful cycle.
It
The
is.
more we contribute to the well-being of others, the more abundance we attract into our own lives.
Now, this is where things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Haanel goes deeper into the concept of the I as a spiritual entity distinct from both the body and the mind. Right.
Okay, let's revisit that concept. If the I is not who we see in the mirror or the thoughts we think, then what is it? He describes it as the spiritual entity that actually controls both the body and the mind.
So like the CEO of our entire being.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
He suggests that once we fully realize the true nature of this I, we experience a profound sense of power.
Okay.
We finally know who we truly are, what we want, and how to get it.
It's about aligning with our true spiritual essence.
Exactly. And remember, he believes this I is part of the universal mind.
Right. That all-powerful force we talked about earlier.
He suggests that it's through this connection that we can access unlimited power and potential.
This is where my mind starts to bend a little.
It's mind-blowing.
Are you saying we have a direct connection to the source of all creation?
That's exactly what Haanel is suggesting.
Wow.
And he believes that by understanding and utilizing the power of thought, we can tap into this potential.
So our thoughts are the key to unlocking this unlimited potential. That's a pretty big claim.
It is a bold statement.
Yeah.
He emphasizes that we have the power to change our conditions by changing ourselves.
Okay.
Our thoughts, he argues, literally shape our reality.
It's like we're the architects of our own lives and our thoughts are the blueprints.
Exactly.
Okay.
He uses that battleship analogy again to drive this point home.
The battleship.
He suggests we mentally trace the creation of that battleship back to its origin.
Okay.
The very first thought in the architect's mind where the idea was born.
So a thought can literally create a physical reality. Is that what he's saying?
He's suggesting that the power of thought is what ultimately brings everything into manifestation. He connects this to the law of attraction.
Okay.
The idea that our predominant mental attitude attracts corresponding experiences into our lives.
Okay. So if I want to experience more abundance, I need to cultivate an attitude of abundance in my mind. We've talked about that.
Right.
Yeah.
He takes it a step further and describes thought as having a vibrational frequency.
A vibrational sequence.
It's this vibration that reaches out and attracts the materials needed to build our reality.
So our thoughts are like magnets, attracting experiences and resources that match our internal frequency.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And this applies to everything, including our financial well-being.
Right. We talked about developing a money consciousness.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset, recognizing that there are plenty of resources available and that we can tap into that abundance through our thoughts and actions.
Okay.
He contrasts this with fear.
Yeah.
The fear of lack, the fear of not having enough.
Which ironically creates more lack.
Exactly.
Right.
He believes that fear is the opposite of money consciousness. It leads to a poverty consciousness, a belief that there's not enough to go around.
Right.
On the other hand, faith in abundance, he argues, attracts prosperity.
Okay.
And here's a key point.
Okay.
He emphasizes that true success is not just about taking, but about giving and being of service.
So it's not just about attracting wealth for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's about using that wealth to make a positive impact on the world.
That's a core principle of the master key system.
Okay.
The more we give, the more we receive.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's not just about positive thinking.
No.
It's about understanding the underlying principles that govern reality and aligning ourselves with those principles.
That's a great way to summarize it.
Yeah.
It's about becoming conscious creators of our lives rather than passive recipients of circumstance.
It's empowering to think that we have that much control over our destiny.
It is. It's quite liberating.
Yeah.
And it's not about denying the challenges or difficulties we face in life.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we have the inner resources to overcome those challenges and create a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment.
So the master key system is like a toolbox for the mind, providing us with the tools we need to unlock our full potential.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that the power to create the life we desire lies within each of us.
This has been an incredible exploration of the master key system so far.
We've covered a lot.
It feels like we've only just scratched the surface, though.
There's always more to uncover.
Well, we'll have to save that for next time.
Sounds good.
I'm ready to dive even deeper.
All right, let's do it.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the master key system. I'm ready to explore those esoteric aspects you mentioned. What else does Haanel have in store for us?
Well, he gets into this whole concept of spiritual science.
Spiritual science?
Yeah, he suggests it holds the potential to, like, revolutionize our understanding of reality.
Oh, wow.
Just as physical science has revolutionized our material world.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah.
Is he suggesting there's a scientific basis for spirituality?
He's pretty adamant about it. He believes spiritual science has been misunderstood.
Okay.
And often relegated to the realms of superstition and mysticism.
Right.
But he argues that there's a real science behind it. Just as there's a science behind, gravity or electricity.
So are you saying there are laws governing the spiritual realm?
Yeah.
Just as there are laws governing the physical realm?
That's precisely what Haanel suggests. He observes that people are increasingly seeking definite methods and demonstrable facts when it comes to spirituality.
It sounds like there's a growing desire for a more grounded, practical approach to exploring these deeper aspects of life.
Yeah, for sure. He sees it as a new era.
Okay.
Where the power of thought is being recognized as like a driving force in shaping reality.
It's like we're waking up to the fact that we're not just passive observers.
Right.
We're active participants in creating our own experiences.
He even quotes Herbert Kaufman, who said,
Okay.
"They are the chosen few, the blazers of the way. Walls crumble and empires fall. The tidal wave sweeps from the sea and tears a fortress from its rocks. The rotting nations drop from off time's bow, and only things the dreamers make live on."
Wow, that's quite an image. He's placing a lot of emphasis on the power of dreamers and visionaries. Is he suggesting they're the ones who truly shape the course of history?
He argues that thoughts are more potent than we realize.
Okay.
Even more powerful than physical force.
Wow.
And he says that throughout history, it's been those who dared to imagine a different reality. The dreamers, the inventors, the artists, the innovators, who have brought about the most significant change.
It's like they're tapping into a higher level of consciousness.
Right.
And those thoughts ripple outwards, influencing the world around them.
Exactly. He emphasizes that this creative power of thought isn't limited to a select few, though.
Okay.
It's accessible to anyone who chooses to cultivate it.
So we all have the potential to be dreamers and visionaries, shaping our own realities and maybe even influencing the world around us.
He believes so, yes.
Yeah.
He encourages us to harness our imaginations, envision the world we want to create, and then take action to make those visions a reality.
So it's not just about daydreaming. It's about turning those dreams into concrete actions.
He makes a distinction between what he calls constructive imagination and daydreaming, which he sees as a form of mental dissipation that can actually be detrimental.
So there's a difference between using our imaginations constructively and just letting our minds wander aimlessly.
Yeah, constructive imagination is about using our mental faculties to create something new and beneficial, something that contributes to the well-being of ourselves and others.
Right.
It's about aligning our thoughts with our highest aspirations and then taking inspired action.
This reminds me of what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Setting a clear purpose for our lives, a vision that guides our thoughts and actions.
Exactly. Without a clear purpose, Haanel suggests we become like ships adrift at sea, tossed about by the winds of circumstance.
So finding our purpose is like setting a course, and then using the power of our minds to navigate towards our chosen destination.
He emphasizes that this purpose should be something in harmony with the greater good, something that contributes to the well-being of humanity as a whole.
So it's not just about personal gain.
Right.
It's about using our gifts and abilities to make a positive impact on the world.
He believes that true success encompasses more than material wealth or possessions. It's about living a life of meaning and purpose, a life aligned with our values.
It's like the saying, success is not what you have, but who you are.
Exactly. And when we align ourselves with our true purpose, Haanel suggests the universe conspires to support us.
So we tap into a flow of energy that carries us toward our goals.
He describes it as coming into harmony with natural law. When our thoughts and actions are aligned with those principles, we create momentum that propels us forward.
This reminds me of the idea of flow state, that feeling of effortless effort when everything seems to fall into place.
That's a great connection. Haanel also discusses the law of compensation,
Okay.
The idea that we reap what we sow.
So the energy we put out into the world is the energy we receive back. What goes around comes around.
It's a bit more nuanced than that, but essentially, yes. He believes this law is constantly operating whether we're aware of it or not.
Right.
So it's in our best interest to be mindful of our thoughts, words, and actions.
Because they're all creating ripples that will ultimately come back to us.
He suggests we can't hold on to anything we don't deserve or haven't earned.
So true success is built on a foundation of integrity and authenticity.
Haanel emphasizes that material wealth acquired through dishonest means will eventually slip away.
Okay.
Because it's not in alignment with those underlying universal principles.
It's like trying to build a house on sand. Eventually the foundation will crumble.
Exactly. He also encourages us to form our own mental images.
Okay.
To create a vision for our lives that's independent of outside influences.
Not letting our environment or other people's opinions dictate our path.
Exactly. He believes we have the power to create our own reality, regardless of our circumstances. It's about taking ownership of our lives, becoming the architects of our own destiny.
That's a powerful concept.
It is. He also highlights the importance of paying attention to the words we use.
Words have power.
He's very clear about that.
Yeah.
He suggests that words are the first manifestation of thought, the vessels in which our thoughts are carried.
So the language we use actually shapes our reality.
He believes so, yes. He points out that words have the power to create or destroy, to inspire or discourage. It's crucial to choose our words carefully, using language that aligns with the reality we want to create.
Words create worlds. I've heard that saying before.
It's a powerful truth. It all boils down to the quality of our thinking. Haanel stresses the importance of developing mental discipline, becoming masters of our own minds.
This is where those concentration exercises we talked about earlier come in handy.
Exactly. Through consistent practice, he believes we can train our minds to focus on what we want to create, rather than getting bogged down by distractions and negativity.
It's about building that mental muscle.
Exactly. And he sees this mental mastery as the key to unlocking our full potential in all areas of life.
Wow, this has been an incredible journey through the master key system. It's amazing how much depth and wisdom is packed into this work.
It's truly remarkable how relevant these principles remain, even in our fast-paced modern world.
It does feel like we've only just scratched the surface, though.
There's always more to uncover, and that's what makes this work so fascinating. It's a continual journey of discovery.
So after all this, what does it all mean for us? How can we take these ideas and apply them to our own lives?
That's the question we should all be asking ourselves. What resonates most deeply with you? Which principles feel most relevant to your current challenges or aspirations? Haanel provides the framework, but it's up to each of us to take these principles and make them our own.
It's like he's given us a map, but we get to choose our destination and chart our own course.
And remember, the journey itself is just as important as the destination. The Master Key System isn't about reaching some end goal and then stopping. It's about embracing a lifelong process of growth and transformation.
It's about becoming the best versions of ourselves, not just for our own benefit, but for the benefit of the world around us.
Exactly. Who knows what incredible possibilities might unfold when we all tap into the power of our minds and align ourselves with this wisdom. That's something to ponder as you continue your own exploration.
That's a great point to end on. It's been a fascinating deep dive. There's definitely a lot here to think about, and I'm sure you'll find plenty to apply to your own life as you continue exploring the Master Key System.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.